NXT from February the 11th, 2025. A very solid, fun show. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. The Ricky Starks surprise was phenomenal. It was great. I enjoyed that. It was unpredictable. I didn't think that he would show up really until Vengeance Day, but Shawn Michaels, as per usual, hits these surprises out of the park. We are going to also talk about Vengeance Day predictions. So let's go ahead and get directly into the Ricky Starks stuff. So Ricky Starks shows up in the middle of the show. This is about 9:15, 9:30ish, about 9:30ish. So he comes out to a really good ovation. The fans chant Ricky. Ricky says, "This feels really good right now." He said, "It's obviously you know who I am. If NXT is the future of professional wrestling, well, guess what? You need an absolute superstar of the future. And if this is the hottest brand, well, you need the hottest free agent." He said, "Don't let the handsome face fool you and the expensive fragrance fool you. I'm here to turn this place upside down. And everybody has been begging to ask the question, when will the revolution be televised again?" And he says, "And well, I'm here, ain't I?" And that was it. He does his pose. That was great. I love this. He didn't talk shit about AEW, which he didn't need to. Ricky Starks made the right decision. I was actually shocked that he showed up. I actually popped for this. This was great. Again, I didn't think that he would show up this quickly after just being let go from AEW 24 hours prior. But for him to show up 24 hours later to WWE is tremendous. This is great. All Ricky Starks wanted was a fresh start, and he finally has it. He's finally free. I think he's going to be a megastar in NXT. I think he will be NXT champion in due time. Obviously not right now, but I do think that he'll be champion. I do. I think he'll stay in NXT for about a good 6 months, maybe at best 8. So he probably will show up on the main roster probably, I would say, after SummerSlam. So SummerSlam's in early August. So I would say anywhere between SummerSlam and whatever pay-per-view they're going to do in September. So that's probably when we'll see Ricky Starks on the main roster. But this was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I would love to see him feud with Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Oba Femi, guys like that. I think he's going to play a mid-card role for a small bit, and then they're going to probably thrust him into the main event picture. Not sure when that will be. It might be after Stand and Deliver. So maybe that's what they'll do with him. But this is great. This is tremendous. And now NXT is basically must-see because we're all fans of Trick Williams and Oba Femi. Those guys are great, and they are the future. Same thing with Tony D'Angelo, but Ricky Starks is a step above those guys. He's a little bit older. He's in his mid-30s, but he can still go. He can still do things. And this is great. A lot of people on Twitter put him over, like Cody, CM Punk, Carmelo Hayes. So this is great. I'm so happy for him. And I wish nothing but the best for Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is going to be in good hands. And it looks like we're off to the races with Ricky Starks because this is the shot in the arm that the men's division needed. It needed a shot like Ricky Starks. And right now, there's no feuds for him right now to get involved in. Maybe we could see him feud with Lexis King, maybe. I don't know. They might end up doing that. So we'll have to wait and see. Good stuff, though. Really, really good stuff. All right, let's get into the remainder of the show. So, the first match of the night was Bayley versus Cora Jade. Cora Jade defeats Bayley with the help of Roxanne Perez. She came out towards the end of the match. She came out as Hugger Bayley, Distracted Bayley. This allowed for Cora Jade to hit her DDT on the outside, threw Bayley back into the ring for a second time, and she hit another DDT, 1, 2, 3. And so apparently it's now going to be a fatal 4-way at Vengeance Day, now involving Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Bayley. Ugh. I hate fatal 4-ways. I hate triple threats, but it is what it is. Bayley, she's just there for, nostalgia purposes, and she'll be back on the main roster. So, yeah. And apparently she wants to do TNA, but that probably won't happen. Like, why would it? She's not an NXT superstar, so why would she show up on there? But, it is what it is. This is fine. I mean, obviously, Bayley's doing well on the main roster. She beat Lara Valkyria 24 hours ago, and then 24 hours later, she's looking at the lights, So, there that shit goes. Moving on. So, Ruka, she wants to train on the beach with Zarya, a.k.a. Delta, ahead of their big match with Metaphor next week. So, Zarya is like, she's kind of iffy about it. Then Nikita Lyons, she shows up, and she pokes fun at the idea of anybody seeing them on the beach. Maybe Zarya should touch some grass instead of being on the beach. One win doesn't make you a tag team. Nikita says that Ruka is holding her back, that being Zarya. Zarya responds by calling Ruka the most athletic woman in the division. And then Nikita proceeds to challenge Zarya to a match for later on in the show. All right, that's fine there, I guess. This is good. Battle of the female lionesses, which is great. So I do like that shit. Moving on, this leads us into A-Town Down Under and Oba Femi. And this was a pretty okay segment for the most part. So Oba Femi, he gets on the mic. He says, let's be real, it's going to be a handicap match. He says, because in their minds, A-Town Down Under, they're going to gang up on him and get rid of the ruler. He says their egos will be their greatest downfall. He says it's only one man for himself when it comes to this NXT Championship. So then Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, they show up. They kind of make fun of Oba Femi and everything else. They put over each other what they've done on the main roster and their accomplishments. Austin Theory basically said that he should have gotten more praise while he was on NXT. He said that, Grayson Waller did a lot of things in NXT, jumping off of ladders and stuff. He risked his career. He said most people think about, Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, and Braun Breaker. And also, that Grayson Waller is one of the pillars that helped shape NXT to what it is today. And so they continue to make fun of Oba Femi and everything else. And they eventually tease a breakup. And then Austin Theory just says to Grayson Waller that he's never held the NXT Championship. And they end up taking out Oba Femi only for a brief moment. And then Oba Femi texts him. No, my bad. So Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, they get into a shoving contest. And then so both of them beat up Oba Femi. So that's fine. This makes sense. I like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, but clearly Triple H doesn't give a fuck about them. Both of them need to stick around in NXT. They need it. Especially Austin Theory. especially. Moving on. So we get a Eddie Thorpe promo. He says that Trick Williams is the face of NXT. He continuously gets handed opportunity after opportunity. All he wanted was one chance to prove himself. He tried to do things the right way, but time after time, he was disregarded by Ava and Shawn Michaels, even by the WWE Universe. He said, those people chant your name while they scoff at mine, that being Trick Williams. Vengeance is the only thing that he seeks for him, for his people. He'll make his mark one way or another. He says that then he challenges Trick to a trap match at Vengeance Day. All right. Makes sense. We all knew that this is where this was going. Eddie Thorpe, he's okay, but he strikes me as someone that would make it in TNA. He would be better in TNA, in my opinion. I feel like he's not gonna be successful on the main roster. I'm not gonna say that he's gonna get cut or anything like that, because he probably won't. But I just don't see him having much success on the main roster. I mean, look at Carmelo Hayes as an example. He's not doing much of anything on the main roster. So, there's that. But it is what it is. Moving on. So, Javon Evans, he's back. He's backstage. And so, he's willing to add further damage to his previous broken jaw by competing at Vengeance Day. He's medically cleared, but Ava wants him to sign a contract that states that if he competes on Saturday, it'll waive any liability that WWE has for if he gets hurt. Ava tells Javon to think about it. He signs the contract. He signs the waiver, and then he dips out. Okay, this is fine. This actually does make sense. Ava is horrible. She's a horrible general manager. She sucks at the job. She does. She really does. Nepotism at its best, at its finest. It is what it is, though. It's not that important. It's not that important at all. Moving on. So Tony D wants Stacks to calm down. He has to handle his business on his own tonight in the Steel Cage main event. Moving on, this leads us into the triple threat, which involves Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs and Inamura and Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. So Josh Briggs and Inamura, they win. Who cares? It's not that important. I don't understand why they're still trying to push Josh Briggs. And Hank and Tank, they're kind of boring. I'm kind of over them. I wish that Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights could have won, but it is what it is. Tavion Heights is great. And where the fuck is Charlie Dempsey at? What's he doing? Because we haven't seen him in a week or two. Moving right along. So, this leads us into Lexus King versus JDC. Johnny Dango Curtis, a.k.a. Fandango. He retains the NXT Heritage Cup Championship by via the coronation. Okay, this is fine. This was actually one of Lexus King's better matches. And JDC's a pro. I do like him. But the system, fuck the system. That being Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers. Fuck them. They don't matter. Moving on. So Bayley and Roxanne Perez, they're complaining in Ava's office. Roxanne is planning on becoming a record-breaking 3-time NXT Women's Champion at Vengeance Day. Bayley wishes Roxanne Perez good luck, and she calls her, Bayley says that Roxanne Perez is stealing her gear, is the best she's ever looked, and then she calls Roxanne Perez an ugly idiot, and she walks away. That was funny. So Cora Jade shows up. She believes that she'll be the NXT Women's Champion, and she'll make sure that Roxanne Perez is right there to see it. Roxanne says over her dead body as Cora walks away. So they are back to being frenemies. It is what it is, not all that important. I think Cora Jade is going to end up being the one to take the pin in the Fatal 4-Way. Moving right along. So Fatal Influence talks about Stephanie Vacker having no friends. Klein Jordan shows up. She wants another shot at the Women's North American Championship after Vengeance Day. Fallon reminds Kalani that she lost a rematch. Klein says that Fallon Henley hasn't faced this version of her. Jessie Jane says that Kalani should be worried about Jada Parker. Jada, her sexy ass, shows up. She said that she believes that she's living rent-free in Kalani's head. All Jada has her eyes on is the Women's North American Championship. So then Ashanti, the Adonis, he shows up. He says that Carmen Petrovic is the only one that truly deserves the next title opportunity. Okay, this is fine, I guess. I think it's time for JC Jane and Fallon Henley to get caught up to the main roster. They both have been there since 2021. It feels like they're ready. I feel like that might happen. Obviously, they can't take Jasmine next to the main roster. She's not ready. She just got there. She's only been in NXT, I want to say, for about a good 6 to 8 months. Not long. So, I don't know. Moving on. So, Zarya defeats Nikita Lyons via the F5. This was an okay match. I enjoyed this. You know, Nikita Lyons, she's still thick and sexy. And Zarya's pretty decent as well. She's decent. So, there's that. Moving on. So, Trick Williams accepts Eddie Thorpe's strap match challenge. He says that you cost him the NXT title. You keep out here, you're out here running your mouth. That's cool. Well, what you going to do about it, me and you? We're going to have this strap match. And you got to look me face to face, man to man, eye to eye, and then I'm going to whoop that ass. Pause. So good shit there. So I love that. Moving on. So Julia then wishes Stephanie Vacker good luck ahead of Vengeance Day. This leads us into Andre Chase. He runs into Kel Dixon and Uriah Connors. I have no idea who these guys are at all. Just some enhancement talent, I guess. I don't know. I think Uriah Connors might be, I can't remember his actual name, but it's somebody, I don't know. I can't remember his name. Anyway, it's not that important. Main event of the evening, Tony D'Angelo defeats Ridge Holland to retain his NXT North American Championship in the steel cage. So towards the end of the match, Izzy Dame got involved. She tried to throw the crowbar in the ring, and Tony D ended up getting hit with it by Ridge Holland. Tony D kicked out, so I guess he's fucking Superman. Tony D ended up winning via the spinebuster finish. Forgot what he calls it. He ends up winning that way. And then post-match, so Ridge Holland, he beats up the family. Rizzo, she comes in to check on the Don. Sean Spears and his cronies, they show up. Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance, they show up. So Izzy Dame, she then turns on the Don. She attacks him with the crowbar. And then Sean Spears and company, they beat the shit out of Tony D. And that was the end of the show. He ends up doing the C4 spike. No, my bad. The Avalanche C4 taking out Tony D. And that was the show to an extent, because they showed those same four guys that they've been showing, that they've been teasing. And that was the show. So this was fine. The Ricky Starks stuff was absolutely tremendous. I love that. Main event was solid, too. We all knew that Izzy Dame was going to turn heel anyway, so it was all a ruse, so I do like that. Even though I'm not a fan of Sean Spears, he fucking sucks. Same thing with Brooks Jensen. Nico, he could be promising, but we have to wait and see. But being paired with Sean Spears, I don't know. Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams, their feud is okay. Zarya and Nikita Lyons, that's cool. I enjoyed that. I wish that they would get Zarya away from Soruka. I really do, because I feel like we were promised Xena, Warrior Princess, with Zarya, and we've not got that yet. We've not gotten the female Brock Lesnar yet. We've not gotten her yet. So I don't know why they are refusing not to push her like that. She's sort of kind of ready. But out of the three, Zarya, Stephanie Vacker, and Julia, clearly Stephanie Vacker and Julia are being pushed far more than Zarya. It's almost like she's an afterthought. So, there's that. Everything else on the show was, solid too. So, NXT was solid, especially with Ricky Starks showing up, getting a great reaction. That's great. And I am excited for Vengeance Day. Speaking of Vengeance Day, let's go ahead and get into the predictions. We've got 6 matches so far. Basically, we've got 6 matches. They've got most of the tickets sold out, basically. I think it's about 35 something. They're trying to get to maybe 36, 37. They should be able to reach that by Saturday. I am very excited for this. So, we have 6 matches, like I said before. Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. This is anyone's match to win. If you say to me that Ethan Page is going to win, I'll be okay with that. Same thing with Javon Evans. But I think since Ethan Page has shown a more sadistic side of himself as of late, just being, real demonic and possessed, I think Ethan Page should win. Josh Alexander, he's finished with TNA, so maybe he does show up in this match, and maybe he helps Ethan Page win. So maybe that could happen. It's a possibility. Moving on. Nathan Frazier and Faxium versus Josh Briggs and Uemura. Because they won the number 1 contenders tag team match. This is for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Obviously, Fraxium is going to win. There is no fucking way that Shawn Michaels is going to really push Josh Briggs and Uemura. I hope he does not do it. I hope he doesn't. So hopefully Fraxium wins that. Moving on, Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams strap match. Trick Williams, I think they're going to start rebuilding Trick to have the inevitable one-on-one match between him and Oba Femi at Stand and Deliver. That's the biggest match they can do right now. Or another big match would be Ricky Starks and Oba Femi, but they probably won't do that right now, obviously. But Trick Williams needs to win this, and that will make the most sense. And then you just continue to build him up from there. Moving on. Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Julia, Bayley, Roxanne Perez, and Cora Jade. Julia's going to retain, and probably Cora Jade will take the pin. I would imagine Masha Slamovich is going to get involved, so that way Cora Jade and Masha Slamovich, they can continue to have their feud on TNA. Moving on, speaking of the women, Stephanie Vacker versus Fallon Henley for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Stephanie Vacker is obviously going to win. What do you do with Fallon Henley going forward? I would imagine they're probably going to end up bringing her up on the main roster along with JC Jane. They're primed and ready. So there is that. Main event of the evening, triple threat for the NXT Championship. Oba Femi versus Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller. Obviously, Oba Femi is going to win. Who takes the pin?
I would imagine probably Austin Theory. They're going to end up having them break up somehow. They've got to. They've been teasing to break up for the past 6 to 8 months. Just go ahead and break them up. And it should be interesting to see how they're going to break up. But all in all, I am excited for NXT Vengeance Day. And NXT was pretty good. It was very, very solid this week. Especially with Ricky Starks showing up. Tremendous. I'm so glad that Ricky is finally where he belongs. But what did you guys think of NXT? And what are your predictions for Vengeance Day? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.